Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Helen of Phelan Studio, and today we have a 45-minute all-over strength Pilates workout. So we are taking a little bit more time, we're diving into things, we get really deep, and this one has some of my favorite hate to love, love to hate exercises in it. So it's a toughie. I hope you enjoy it, and give yourself a little pat on the back for making it through this marathon session today. If you do like this class, I hope you like and subscribe, as well as comment below so I know you were here. And you should send this to a friend of yours who likes a good hard Pilates class. I'll see you on the mat.
Good morning. Welcome to our Feeling Good Mat Pilates class. Today we're working with Bodyweight, reviewing some of the exercises from Monday's class just without the foam roller. So less instability challenge, but still pretty challenging. So come to the back edge of your mat and your feet are hip width apart. Roll your shoulders back, around, and down a few times just to loosen up around those upper traps. You can keep your knees slightly bent so they're soft. And then reverse those circles the opposite direction. And let your chin fall down to your chest, hollowing out through your core. Begin to fold in half, bending the knees as much as you need to so that you can rest your chest on your thighs here. We shake the head yes. We shake the head no. And then we walk it all the way out to downward facing dog to get us started. So just give your feet a little pedal from side to side. Should feel like a nice shift from right to left. Bending one knee at a time, waking up that lower body. We're starting class with, it's really a full body exercise, but you're going to feel it primarily in this lower body. Reaching through both heels, reaching through both knees. You're going to reach your right leg up to the sky, any amount. I don't care how high it goes. Just give me a circle at the ankle, wake up the foot, take it the other way. Stay heavy on that left heel. And then take your right foot all the way through your hands. Make sure that you've scooted it forward enough so that the foot is directly underneath the knee, and then rocking back and forth on that back foot. So this can even be a circle through the back leg, and reversing that circle through the back leg. All right, and then you're gonna peel that right arm off the ground, reaching right arm to the ceiling, and just taking some circles at the wrist. Waking up into all the way the ends of your extremities. Reverse it the other way. Try to squeeze your left butt cheek here. Keep your hips pressing forward. And then bring that arm back to the floor. From here, nice easy transition. You're gonna hop that left foot, that back foot in, just a few-ish inches so that it's a sustainable stance. Use your abdominals and come up to a high lunge. All right, so my weight is primarily here over the front foot. Before we even start to move, I want to think wrap the ribs together, wrap the rib cage down and towards the pelvis. Keep the weight through that right heel, step the left foot in so your legs are lined up, and then step that left foot back out. So you can always use the wall, use a chair, whatever you need to do to help support your balance here. I know it's tricky. Inhaling on the back, exhaling on the in. What I want to avoid is shifting, rocking front and back. I want to stay planted and just move that left leg really freely. So my hips are not moving back as I change that placement of my left leg. We're here for another 4, 3, 2. We should feel that standing leg doing all the work. 1. Now keep that back leg extended. Reach your arms to your sides, and I want to activate through the backs of the arms. So go ahead and squeeze between the shoulder blades. Feel how that opens your chest without arching your back, so keep the core engaged. Squeeze through the triceps. Try to touch your toes with your fingers. Give them a wiggle, and you're going to feel a lot stronger through the back of the arms there. My palms are facing back in this position, but as I tap my back knee to the floor, my palms are going to face in. So my palms are facing in towards one another. And then I hinge forward, squeeze, push through the air to come front. So I am tapping this knee to the floor, but I'm not resting in it, so I don't want to drop all the way down. When you hit this position, this is like a supreme tuck of your pelvis so that this hip flexor and this thigh get a really nice stretch. And arms do not have to go totally locked straight or super high. We're not looking to arch the back. We're not looking to shrug the shoulders. And I want to keep that front knee bent the whole time. Yeah. Elle, why don't you scoot your foot like 2 inches forward so it's a little bit more underneath your knee? Yeah, that'll feel more supportive. Inhale up and exhale. Press it back. Squeeze through those triceps. Let's go for 3, 2, and 1. Come forward once again. And I want to keep that squeeze between my shoulder blades. Keep the hips really square and just rise up on the right heel and lower it right back down. Whew. Rise up on the right heel, lower it right back down. Think about pushing the ground away as you lower the heel. You might notice your torso wobbling side to side, totally normal. Get yourself organized, catch yourself. Reaching fingertips away from the ears. Can you feel your neck just get a ½ inch longer? For 3, 2, and 1. Take your hands to the floor outside that front foot. Let's hop that back leg all the way back. Keep this leg forward, but walk it outside of your hands so it's on the outer edge of your mat. That left knee can gently go down to the ground. And if you can't see my foot very well, I'm now rocking to my pinky toe edge of the foot and then rocking back to flat foot. So from the front, it's just a little external rotation, internal rotation of that thigh. Whew, we should feel pretty welcome after that lunge. We are going to get even in just a second. Want to do a little more core work before we do so. But just taking a little interlude here to relax at those hips. Alrighty, now you're going to plant that right foot, the sole of the foot, flat on the ground. Straighten out through your back leg. You're going to take your right foot, walk it out to plank. You can also walk it down to a kneeling plank, whatever feels better on your body today. And I want to think about pushing away from the floor as much as humanly possible, as well as pulling the floor towards the toes. You're going to immediately feel a little shaky or a little more isometric connection to those abdominals. Try not to let your head droop down heavy. Look in front of your mat, in front of your hands, and give me a little shift forward, shift back. I want that shift back to feel like a stretch for the lower leg. Inhale on the front. Exhale on the back. Leaning to your heel. Siri always thinking I'm talking to her. Front and back. Last 2. And 1, butt to the sky. Enjoying that pedal through the feet. Shifting your weight from side to side. And then even things out. Slide those shoulders away from your ears. Try to flatten out through your spine, hugging your rib cage towards the thighs. Knees can be bent if you need to. And left leg is going to float up to the sky. We did this one already. You're going to circle out at the foot. I want to continue pressing through that right heel. That's a balance exercise. One armed down dog. And then take that circle of your foot the opposite direction. And that left foot is going to take a nice big step through your hands. And we're going to go a little rock front and back here, just like we did on side 1. So we just did this in plank as well. How does it feel when we have a little less stress on the shoulders, a little less stress on the core? Maybe you feel a little bit more intensity into that Achilles area, right into the ankle area. Making sure as we set up for lunge on this second side, always heel directly underneath the knee, even as I come to standing. Circle out at that back foot once or twice. Circle it the other way. Should feel really nice. And then before we move on, give me that little twist here. You can take circles at your wrist. Feel the upper back opening up. Fold it back to the floor. Now we hop that back foot in just a few inches so that it's a stance that feels maintainable. and rise up to your high lunge. See how pitched forward my torso is? I'm making a diagonal line with my spine and my back leg. All my weight in that front foot as I step forward and step back. Inhaling front, exhaling back. Remembering that our sides are very different, so even if you felt like super strong, super secure on side one, that might not be the case for side two. Or you might have had a more of a struggle with side one, and this side might be coming more naturally. Try not to assign any value to that. Instead of saying like good side and bad side, just think side where it needs a little more practice. Side for more opportunity. Side that needs more love. Stay low on that front foot for 3, 2, roll those shoulders back, keep the chest open. 1, now we get into a little arm choreography. So my back leg is straight, arms reaching back behind you. I want it to feel like you're holding little mini dumbbells here, so there's strength in those arms. Watch how my spine comes vertical as I lower to tap my back knee to the floor, and then I pitch myself forward again, press through those arms. So I'm adding a little bit more of that arm lift as I pitch forward here, so I can feel even more opening at the chest, little posture work. Exhaling, press it back, squeeze through those arms, squeeze between the shoulder blades. Inhaling, tuck, tuck, tuck at those hips. Don't fall over. Inhaling on the down and exhaling on the up. A few more times. Not a comfortable one, I'm not gonna lie to you, but this chest opening here, that hip opening here, that feels really good. Even if our left butt cheek is on fire. We're here for 3. We are gonna hold it at the top in 2. 1 more time, coming down. Keep that front knee over the front ankle. Stay lifted here, keep squeezing between those arms. Rise up to your tippy toes, left foot. Tap it back down, very good. Keep going. Inhale on the up, exhale on the down. Trying to lift your heel over the center of your foot rather than pinky toe or big toe. We're here for 3, 2, and 1. Carefully reach those hands to the floor. Big step out with that back leg. Walk the left foot to the outer edge of your mat. And once again, externally rotate that front leg. At your own timing, taking a few more deep breaths so that if you're feeling wild, you can even bring your whole chest all the way down to the ground, down to the elbows. If that feels too intense, you stay up on the hands. One more deep breath here. And then just like before, I want you to step it back to your plank or your kneeling plank, whatever feels better on your body. So 2 options. If you're on straight legs, you're gonna bend the right knee without shifting the hips and then bend the left knee. You could also be on your elbows. If you're on your knees or starting from your knees, it's just the reverse where you're straightening one leg at a time. What I'm looking for, and both of those versions, is hip stability. So I wanna not move my hips, I don't wanna drop my hips. I wanna keep my glutes squeezing each time I straighten the leg. Try to unshrug through those shoulders. Remember to look in front of your hands. Press the back of your skull up to the ceiling. So good. Last 2. And 1, let's go butt to the sky, down dog. Okay, good morning, we're awake. Pedaling through those feet, a few more deep breaths. Alrighty, give yourself 1 more moment here. And then set those hips, those knees rather, to the floor. Flip over onto your back. We're gonna go into a little more traditional core work. I'm just gonna angle my screen down a bit now that we're not standing. Okay, cool. So, laying down on your back. I want you to find your neutral spine or neutral pelvis. That means not totally tucked under, not overly arched, ribs wrapped together. and pubic bone and hip points nice and neutral. Hands behind the head. I'm gonna do lots of curls today because my bun is in an awkward place to lay down flat. But if you ever wanna skip the upper body, skip the curling, that's totally fine. Tabletop your legs so that your knees are stacked on your hips. Hug your rib cage, not just together, but see if you can feel it slide into your pelvis. From there, just a really simple curl up. Right leg extends out on your diagonal. Inhale, lower your head and chest. Same thing, left. Exhale, reach it all the way out. Inhale, bring it back in. We're gonna take a few more million of those. Exhale, shoulder blades leave the ground. Inhale, return to it. Same thing, left. Curl up, up, up. Get your shoulder blades off the ground. And softly return back to it. You don't have to match my pace, but I do want you to pay attention to your breathing. And I prefer an exhale on that curl up, on that reach out, because it helps me harness that core a little bit more. So whatever your pace is, sync it to your breath. Alrighty. We're gonna come up so that that right leg goes straight, but this time I'm gonna twist to my left, keep both butt cheeks on the floor, and then come back down to the ground. Let's repeat that exact same side. So I'm curling up to the left as my right leg goes straight, and then lowering it right back down. Be careful not to curl your tailbone under. Try to keep those knees in tabletop when they're not out in the extension. And if you're adding this twist, you're thinking armpit to thigh rather than just elbow to thigh. This doesn't use any of my core. But if I think armpit to thigh, I'm leading from my trunk. I'm leading from my center instead. Let's go 2. Hold that curl, hold that twist. Now, option to rest this right foot on the ground as you come back to the center and back to the twist, or keep it floating. Just make sure that you're not wobbling from butt cheek to butt cheek. I want to keep both hips evenly weighted on the ground. We're here for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold that twist. You're going to take your left leg, reach it out on a diagonal, fold it back in. Remember, this foot can absolutely be on the ground if you prefer. Exhale, legs reach, fold it back in. Can you curl up a little higher? Get your left armpit off the ground. We're here for 3. We're going right back to plank. 2, 1. Hug both knees in. Whew. Hello, right obliques. Give yourself a second. Just swirl those knees around. Maybe rock it side to side. The teensiest bit of momentum to come back up to those hands and knees. Smooth transition. I'm going to continue that same sort of pattern, but back in my plank position. You can always be here on the elbows. Just know that it's going to mean your butt has to go a little bit higher. And walk it out to plank. So now my right knee is going to cross, or is going to come center, hold, reach it back to plank. That same knee is going to cross left, hold, back to the center, and continue. You can do this on your knees. It's going to require a little bit more pike of the hips by really pushing away from the floor to get that cross in, but it's absolutely the same thing. Hugging it in. I want to linger in that crunch in, linger in that slow motion mountain climber. Let's go 2 more sets. One more set. Pause and pause. Now, that right knee is going to come in one more time. You're going to keep it lifted. Just twist and untwist. Twist and untwist for 3, 2, 1. Oh my goodness. Rest it down, child's pose. Nice wide knees. So good. We're going to flip right back over to our backs in just a moment, but give yourself a moment to recover. Walk your hands out a little further than you think they go so you feel that upper body stretch. Okay. Excellent work. Let's do it again. Flip over onto your back. We're going to start the same way, really simple, just single leg stretch. So Curling up, looking to the center, extending your left leg, bringing it back in. Repeat right leg, reaching it all the way back out. We're gonna do a few more of these just to recalibrate. I know that was quite intense, getting into those plank mountain climbers. Shoulder blades floating, peeling off the ground. This will be our last time here on the right. And now your left leg is gonna extend and you're gonna twist to the right, all right? So my left leg is reaching, I twist to the right. We repeat that exact same thing. Exhale, curl up to the right, extend the left leg straight. Inhale, bring it back in. I'm a little sweaty. Try to deepen that curl each time you lift up. Big breath out. Get that right armpit off the ground. Inhale, return it to the floor. It's 3. We're getting ready for that hold, that twist, untwist. 2. Reach it all the way out here. Remember, option to place that right foot on the ground as you untwist back to center. Retwist to the side. Untwist back to center. Retwist to the right side. Keeping both hips evenly weighted into the ground. Keep reaching outward through that left foot. It's 2. 1, hold the twist, reach out through the right. Fold it back in. Reach out through the right. Fold it back in. It's 3. Curl up even higher. 2. Left obliques. 1. Fold it all the way in. Let's emotionally prepare for the plank coming up. Massage your low back through the ground. And then use a teensy bit of momentum to help you get up. Crisscross at those ankles. Set yourself up back in plank. Nice smooth transition. Walking out to straight legs. We start with our left foot this time. Left knee into the chest, pause, hold it. Take it back. Left knee to right elbow, pause, hold it. Take it back. Remember, knees work too. Just gotta go into a little bit more of a C curve, sort of like a cat. Try to unshrug those shoulders. We really don't want to C curve up at the top if you're on the straight leg plank. Want to keep my chest as wide and as open as possible. Just a few more rounds here. Give me 2 more sets, then we're going to go into that hold. Get ready for it. Last set. Last time. Okay, now we bring that left leg in. Final time, keep it in there. Just twist and untwist. Twist and untwist. It's 3. Breathe. 2. 1. Step it back, knees down. Okay, we made it. Nice wide knee child's pose. Walk your hands as far forward as they go. Let your forehead rest on the ground. Try to breathe into your back ribs. Try to puff up that upper back. Try to feel the back ribs spread apart as you inhale. Give yourself 1 more moment here. Before you undulate through your spine, we're gonna flip over, laying on our backs once again, this time for some bridging. So lay it on down. Oh, we could just lay all day. Wouldn't that be nice? Lay it all the way down. Feet are planted on the ground, knees are hip-width apart. Now my chin is a little bit higher than I would really like yours to be because I said I put my butt in a weird spot. Really want your focus to be directly up at the sky. But we make substitutions. Curl that tailbone under, feel the low back massage towards the ground, feel your glutes engage, and then roll your hips up to your shoulder bridge. Pause here. Try to press your hips forward, like your kneecaps could touch the wall in front of you. Try not to let the shoulders crunch up, the neck crunch up here at the top of the bridge. If that's happening, drop your chest a little bit. This should be a scooped C curve rather than an arch in the back. And then you can slowly undulate back down, massage through that spine, back to the floor. Inhale. Exhale, curl under, engage those glutes. Roll up to your bridge. Big breath in at the top. Try to think about reaching longer through the torso, and then slowly rolling it right back down. A few more times like that, really simple, just articulated bridging. We want to make sure those glutes are active as you leave the ground. Also, to fire up your legs a little bit more, try pulling your heels towards your bottom. You'll feel way more hamstring that way. Relaxing it back down again. One more time. Curling it under. Lifting up to your bridge and stay. Let's walk those fingertips closer to the toes just to open up the neck a bit. Push your feet through the floor and float just the right leg up to tabletop. Try to keep your hips level as you do so, and then plant that right foot right back down. Exhale, lift the left leg up to tabletop. Keep those hips the same level. Should feel your core working here. And plant that foot right back down. So let's keep going in a slow motion march. Exhaling on the lift up. Inhaling on the down. And exhaling on the lift up again. Try to keep that C curve really tucking under. We're trying to protect our back here by maintaining that C curve rather than letting our back over arch. I also want you to try and visualize your low abs being what initiate for that march. So you can even put your hands on your low belly. Try to exhale, hug in, and then lift the leg up. It's gonna feel subtle, but a lot more supportive at the same time. Try to keep those hips high. Definitely not the whole torso high, but the hips high so that you feel that stretch in the front of the thighs, just like we did when we were lunging. All right, right leg is gonna reach up to tabletop. We're gonna stay. So keeping those hips the same level, let's reach out with that right leg and fold it back to tabletop, just like we did with abs. Reaching it out, folding it back in. If that irritates your back, go back to 2 feet on the ground, just roll up and down like we were doing before. Remember, check in with your core the whole time. Put your hands on your own body. Keep that left knee still so it's not wobbling side to side. Back tips of the shoulders to the ground. For 3, 2, 1. Keep that knee in tabletop, tiny pulse. Up an inch, down an inch. Up an inch. This can be done with 2 feet on the floor as well. It's 3, 2, 1. 2 feet on the ground. Let's roll down the spine for a second. Ooh, that was harder today. Having one of those days for sure. Windshield wiper those knees from side to side. All right, let's do it again. We're gonna go back to the march and then we'll add in that left leg. So curl the tailbone under, squeeze through the glutes, roll up, stay up at the top of your bridge. Left leg up to tabletop. Control it back down, right back to the marching. We alternate legs a few more times. Exaggerate your breathing here. Be careful not to crunch up at the neck. So I want to keep reaching my shoulders to the floor. Not so much that I'm splaying at those ribs. Super important that you're not trying to arch your back here. All right, we're about ready. Let's lift that left leg up to tabletop. Keep your hips really level. Keep pressing your hips to the sky. Reach out on your diagonal with that left leg. Fold it back to tabletop. Reach out on your diagonal. Back to tabletop. Few more. Try to make both sides of your body even. No side bending, no dipping down at either side of your hips. It's 3. We're gonna pulse it out. 2, keep your hips high. 1, bend that knee back to tabletop. Controlled pulses, up an inch, down an inch with your breath. Let's go 4, 3, 2, and 1. 2 feet on the ground. We did that. Roll it down. Oh, windshield wiper from side to side again. All right, let's just take a moment, open up those hamstrings, hug behind the right thigh, let go of the left leg. As much as you possibly can here, try to maintain your neutral pelvis as you extend that leg up to the sky. So I don't want to curl my tail under. I want to think almost like I'm arching my back as my heel goes up in opposition. And then hug that knee back to your chest. A few more times. Big reach up. Bend it back in. Should feel even better than that down dog from the beginning of class. All right, let's take that for 3. And 2. And 1, keep that leg extended, big circle at the ankle. Now, we all experience this differently, but if you're like me and you have a lot of outer leg tension, my legs are a little bowed, this feels fantastic as I internally rotate. I really get into this lower anterior tibialis area, sort of that spot where we feel our shin splints. Reverse the circle the other way. But maybe you feel the opposite. Maybe you feel more of the inner leg. Has a lot to do with our gait, the alignment in which your foot strikes the floor when you're walking. All right, use your abdominals, let that leg lower. And now we just do a quick comparison of right to left sides of the body. Hopefully you feel like, almost like this leg has been pulled out of your hip socket and a lot more connected to the floor. We're gonna go ahead and find that symmetry on side 2. So maintain your neutral pelvis, both hips on the ground, big reach up, and then bend it back in. Facial expressions, sound effects, all welcome. I like to flex my foot at the top just to get a little extra stretch through the lower leg, but that's optional. You can keep your foot limp if you prefer. Check in with the rest of your body. Can you do this stretch while relaxing your eyebrows? Relaxing your shoulders. And then you're going to reach it out all the way up and circle out that foot. Remembering, like I said before, our sides are sisters, not twins. They're not going to be exactly the same from right to left. Reverse that circle the other way. And using your abdominals, let those legs relax down to the ground. Give your hips a little figure 8 into the ground, going both directions. Whew, I could, again, like I said, lay on the ground all day, but we have work to do. Log roll over. Let's come back to our hands and knees. Ooh, got a little sweat spot going on. So back to those hands and knees. Let's take a little cat-cow. Shoulders on top of the hands, hips on top of the knees. Arch your back. Inhale. Let your belly relax. We did a lot of core work already in class, so try not to grip or suck in. This is a stretch for your abdominals. And then you can take a gentle contraction of the abs as you C-curve. Gaze in at your belly button. Make this instead a stretch for between your shoulder blades. Opening up on the inhale. And exhaling, rounding it back under. We're here for another 3. Another 2. And last time. All right, from here, staying in your all fours position, we're doing our kneeling tricep push-ups. So I want to think about pointing my elbows back behind me, not out to the side. That's really important. And even more important than that is keeping my nose in line with my fingertips. So you're thinking straight down, not straight back. Inhale, lower those elbows any amount. Keep those noses, your nose rather, you only have one, in line with your fingertips. And exhale, push it right back up. So what I see happen most of the time here, if you're not feeling your triceps on that very first rep, is that we're shifting a little too far back, and that takes all of the load out of our triceps. If we keep our hips forward, the weight stays in the back of the arm, which, makes it tougher. So just double check your alignment. If you're like, this is too easy, you should feel it on the very first try. And if you don't, Make sure that your nose is still up here with the fingernails. Your shoulders are away from your ears. I also want to watch out that I'm not super shrugging, tightening up the neck. And your elbows do not have to hit the floor. They can go down halfway, they can go 3/4 of the way. As long as your alignment is good, I'm happy. Elbows pointing back for the toes, really external rotation of the arms, helping us to practice opening at the chest. Same muscles we felt with those arm sweeps as part of our lunge. And we're back up. Another 3. Another 2. Keep those hips forward, keep your head forward, keep your collarbones open. You're gonna come all the way down, or whatever your deepest depth is. Come up, and this time we go down just halfway. So show me a bend in the elbows, point those elbows towards your knees. Keep the elbows bent the whole time as you go down an inch and up an inch. It's really tiny. Keep your weight shifting forward, butt is over those knees. It's 5. Press through your knuckles. 4. 3. Stay with me for 2. 1, push it all the way up to straight arms. Stay in those straight arms. Tuck your toes under. Float your knees up. Exhale, hold. Now you can do this with your knees down too if you prefer. Really unshrug your shoulders. Pull the hands towards the knees. I want you to get that shaky feeling from plank earlier. It's for 5. 4, point your elbows towards your toes. Don't let them lock out. 2. And 1. Ooh, rest it down. Let's keep those toes tucked under. Sit your butt back. This should feel like a little calf stretch, a little heel stretch as well. Hands behind your back. Really open up at the chest. If it's too uncomfortable at the ankles, you don't have to keep them tucked under, but I love a little multitasking. Take a little gentle rotation from side to side. And now we lower it all the way face down on the ground. So bring yourself to your prone position. And I want my fingertips lined up with my nipples, is what I was trying to say. So your thumbs are right in line with your chest. Keep pointing your elbows right back behind you. So still external rotation, not flared out to the side. A squeeze between your shoulder blades and drive the pubic bone towards the floor. Take this first one really slowly and controlled. Exhale out through the mouth, hug the abs in. Push up to a cobra without overarching that low back, and inhale, bring it back down. So you can see my elbows stay bent the whole time. What happens if I just force myself into straight arms is we get all crunchy in the neck and typically really crunchy in that low back. So I'm gonna keep softness in the elbows so that I still feel the strength in my triceps. I still feel the chest opening. I still feel the core control, but I'm not stressing out my back or my neck. Exhaling to lift. These should definitely feel like they're on the more challenging side, especially after all those kneeling push-ups. We're here for another 4. 3. And you guessed it, we are gonna pulse it out in 2. Keep squeezing the elbows to your sides. 1, we're up, stay up, lower down just a few inches and back up. Keeping those arms super bent. It's teeny tiny. It's 3. 2. 1, reach it to your max, and then back to the floor. Wiggle those hips from side to side. Curl your tailbone under, keep your knees on the ground, squeeze your butt. Push yourself up, flat as a board into kneeling plank. All right, I say that because I don't want to come up arching the back. From here, straighten your legs if you like, or stay in that kneeling plank. Again, just a plank hold, trying to pull the hands towards the toes. Open up at the chest a bit. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose. A big breath out through the mouth. And then set those knees down. Keep those toes tucked under. We're gonna go right back into that seated stretch. The more your toes are curled under, the nicer that stretch is for the soles of the feet and the heels. Open the chest up here. Now we're gonna come up into, well, I guess it counts as 2 rounds because it's single arm. We're going to our last 2 rounds of upper body push-ups, and they're a little bit funky. So I'm going to start on my knees for support. And you're going to take your right hand to the front of the mat. Your left hand is going to stay at your sides. All right, so I still want my left elbow pointing back. Well, both of my elbows are pointing back, but it's almost as if your upper body is doing what we did earlier, whereas your left hand, your opposite hand, is doing the shaving of the sides of your ribs. So you can watch me once if you're confused. I'm going to go into a staggered push-up. My right elbow will get to the ground, my left elbow will not, and then push it right back up. This can also be done on straight legs if you're feeling spicy today. Let's go. Let's go for 5. Maybe you give it a try with straight arms. Oh, not that kind of day for me. I'm going to stay bent. Or straight legs is what I meant to say. Let's go 2. 1. Don't drop yet. Come down just halfway, little pulses. 5. Open your heart, open those collarbones. 3, 2, 1. Push it back to straight arms. Hold it, either in your kneeling plank or in that staggered arm plank. It's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Little mini recovery. You got it. Sit it back on your heels. We're doing that one more time. I know it's a lot, but at least we know the movement by heart now. Head circle here. Keep the neck nice and happy. Okay, let's just finish out that last one. So right hand is underneath the shoulders. Left hand walks forward to the top of your mat. My knees are on the ground unless you decided to play with that straight leg version. You're going to lower down to that left elbow, touches the floor, squeeze your ribs with your right elbow, and then push it back up. So from the front, it's like this, squeezing in and coming just to a forearm plank on the front. Try to not let your upper body twist. So try to stay conscious of squaring off the torso. Let's go for 3. 2. Squeeze to those glutes as you stand each time. 1, come all the way up, down halfway, pulse time. 5, 4, don't bounce it, don't rush it. 3, 2, 1, straighten through those arms, really reach long through them, potentially coming up to straight legs, holding, squeeze through those glutes, push the floor away from you, look at the ground in front of your mat for 3, 2, 1, gently set those knees down. Whew, we're gonna stay on our hands and knees. Arms should feel a little jelly-like. Peel your right arm off the ground. Take some circles at the wrist. Take it the other way, really push away from the ground. And then take that right arm underneath your left armpit. Sorry, that left arm underneath the right armpit is what I meant to say. And then I'm using this hand to push into the floor and try to get a little deeper in that twist. One of my all-time favorite stretches. Really spreading those back ribs apart, trying to deepen the twist as much as possible. Then pushing back up to all fours, right arm. It's gonna reach to the sky, look up at that hand, take some circles at that wrist. We did a lot of wristy stuff today, so just giving it some love. Open up 1 more inch before threading the needle underneath that left armpit. Let your head, your right cheek, your right ear rest on the ground. I'm gonna use this left hand to push gently into the floor. And feel that twist deepen. Try not to let your hips come along with it. So wag your tail to the right as you press through that left hand. Breathing into that tightest part, which for most of us is the spot where our T-spine, our upper back, meets our low back. But if you have a feeling of like maybe you're tighter on the side or even tighter lower, I want you to feel like you can direct your airflow into that spot. One more deep breath. Before pushing it back to all fours and sitting it back. Just shrug those shoulders up, around, and down. And you made it for today. So if you're watching on replay And if you have questions, drop them below in the comments. Otherwise, if you're here with me live, you know the drill. I'm happy to answer any questions.